Welcome. And thank you for joining me today. What you are about to hear is about choices and the consequences of those choices. The story is found in the Markandeya Purana. It is a tale about Indra, Twashta, Trishiras, and Draupadi. This is a tale about ambition, insecurity, courage, and balance. Indra's actions were often driven by fear and desire. Trishiras chose a path of austerity but was killed for it. Vritra embodied wrath. And Draupadi, emerging from fire, became the force of reunion. When we look at these, we are really looking at ourselves. Leadership, fear of losing control, thirst for recognition, urge to dominate, pain of betrayal, and the need for reintegration, all these are present in our lives. The stories are not about escape from the world, but about understanding it more deeply. If you stay with me through this journey, you will see how even the powerful can lose their way, how strength without restraint becomes weakness, and how integration is the only true way forward. These ideas are as alive in meeting rooms, families, and friendships today as they were in earlier days. So before we begin, I ask you, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement helps carry these further, so more of us can pause, think, and perhaps live a little differently. Rishi Jaimini asked the four birds, why did Draupadi end up becoming a shared wife of the Pandavas? The birds began by telling Jaimini about Indra. Twashta, the architect, had once been humiliated by Indra. This is more than a dispute between two figures. Think of how often in our lives relationships weaken, not because of disasters, but because of small humiliations. Respect once broken rarely returns the same way. Creation and authority rarely coexist peacefully. The creator wants acknowledgement, while the ruler wants control. Both are necessary, but when either oversteps, balance collapses. For us, the lesson is clear. In families, in teams, even in friendships, undermining someone's contribution may win the argument in that moment, but it gives way to resentment. That resentment lasts far longer. Power, without acknowledgement, does not inspire loyalty, it breeds quiet opposition. Twashta prayed for a son who could stand against Indra. From this prayer was born Trishiras, a child with 3 heads. As he grew, Trishiras chose a different path. Instead of enmity with Indra, Trishiras chose austerity and silence. He left his father's house and dedicated himself to prayer, worship, and penance. We wish for outcomes shaped by our anger or ambition, yet what emerges often reflects a principle beyond our control. Twashta wanted revenge, but his son preferred renunciation. Indra could not believe this. Overcome by suspicion, he assumed Trishiras' austerities were for his throne. Insecurity cannot differentiate between threat and aspiration. Fear portrays strength as a danger. So Indra tried seduction through the Apsaras, and when that failed, he used violence. He killed Trishiras. The outcome of that action was immense. Indra had slain someone who was not his opponent. Righteousness left him and merged with dharma, leaving him restless. Suspicion and guilt began to eat him from within. When we live in suspicion, we destroy what is harmless. Many leaders or friends act out of fear and end up cutting down those who were not their enemies at all. Fear of being replaced often creates the downfall one is trying to avoid. To recognize the difference between genuine threat and imagined fear is one of the hardest yet most necessary skills in life. When Twashta heard that his son had been killed, he was furious. He performed a ritual to create a being that could avenge Trishira and destroy Indra. A ferocious being emerged from that ritual. This was Vritra. From grief often comes creation, but when grief is tainted by anger, what is born carries destruction. Twashta had the power to create, but what he created was vengeance. Vritra was not a son. He was the embodiment of Twashta's anger. When we act in grief without reflection, we often give rise to something far stronger and more destructive than the original wound. Vritra was not an ordinary foe. He had been created specifically to destroy Indra. He immediately led a direct military assault on Indra. Indra fought hard, but could not match Vritra's strength. Barely escaping with his life, Indra turned to cunning. Indra went to the Saptrishis, the 7 rishis. He urged them to negotiate with Vritra for a truce. The rishis went to Vritra, who agreed to the terms. But Indra could not live with the truce. He waited, and when Vritra was vulnerable, he struck and killed him. This act, striking of an unarmed, stripped Indra of his strength. His strength and power left him and merged with Vayu, the god of wind. With his strength gone, fear filled him. Sometimes, we are given a chance at reconciliation, but mistrust blinds us. Indra's inability to accept peace is a lesson. Those who cannot trust cannot rest. Violence against the defenseless is not victory. It is loss disguised as triumph. For us, the teaching is clear. Peace requires courage, and betrayal of peace is the fastest way to empty oneself. Every act of dishonor may achieve short-term gain, but it erodes the foundation of strength. After Vritra's death, Indra felt hollow. His righteousness and strength had already left him. One day, when Rishi Gautam was not in his ashram, Indra entered in the Rishi's form and violated Ahalya, the Rishi's wife. When Gautam returned and got to know about this, he cursed Indra. His body would bear marks of shame. 1,000 eyes across his skin. Indra's beauty and charm left him and merged with the twin physicians, Ashwini Kumar. Indra had authority, but without inner discipline, authority is an empty shell. He had already lost righteousness, then strength, and now he lost beauty and charm. Desire without restraint consumes character. It does not matter how high one stands, without self-control, collapse is inevitable. A single act born of restlessness can undo years of honor. Character is not destroyed in an instant, but one lapse often triggers a chain. Like Indra, we also may think no one will notice or that power excuses behavior. But truth surfaces, and its cost is lasting. Indra's strength was gone. His righteousness was gone. His allure was gone. Now only his courage remained. The Asurs noticed this change. This was the best time to defeat the gods. They began entering the world of men, taking birth as princes, advisors, and ministers. And after taking birth on earth, they started wreaking havoc. Where leadership weakens, opportunists rise. Power, without moral ground, invites corruption. When those who lead lose integrity, others step into the void to exploit. This is as true today as it was then. When leadership is hollow, deception flourishes. The earth, unable to bear the Asurs, took the form of a woman and went to the gods to plead for relief. The gods agreed to descend on earth to fight the Asurs. King Pandu, in exile, lived with his wives Kunti and Madri. Kunti had a boon by which she could invite gods to grant her children. Through this boon, the powers scattered from Indra were born as the Pandavas. Yudhishthir, born through Dharma, carried Indra's righteousness. Bhim carried Indra's strength through Vayu. Arjun carried part of the courage of Indra. Nakul and Sahdev, born of the Ashwini Kumar, carried Indra's beauty and charm. Indra, broken into pieces because of his own actions, was reassembled on earth through the sons of Pandu. When we are broken, scattered, or weakened, it does not mean the end. Sometimes, what is lost reappears in different forms. The Pandavas symbolize this. Strength returns when fragments are brought together with purpose. Never mistake brokenness as final. Out of scattering comes the chance for reunion. King Drupad longed for a child. He performed a great sacrifice, and from the flames emerged a woman of striking beauty, dark in complexion, named Krishna. As she was Drupad's daughter, she also got the name Draupadi. Draupadi was none other than Sachi, Indra's wife, reborn to play her role once more. Just as Indra's powers had taken form as the Pandavas, Draupadi came as the force that would reunite them. When disorder spreads, life brings forth an equal force of balance. Fire, which consumes, also creates. From destruction comes renewal. Draupadi was that, not just born to live, but to bind together what was divided. In moments of division, there often emerges a person or even a situation whose purpose is to bring together what has fallen apart. Unity often requires a catalyst, and sometimes that catalyst arises from trial and fire itself. The four birds thus told Jaimini that Draupadi, by marrying the Pandavas, had actually married Indra and not five separate people. This narration began with Indra, and now I end with a reminder that the same forces live in us. The forces of pride, fear, anger, reintegration. They shape every life. This is not about Indra alone. It is about us. Each day, ego prompts us to act, anger rises within us, and the self scatters. But each day, we are given the chance to step back, to reintegrate, and to find balance. The path is not in rejecting the Indra within us. It is in recognizing him, and then choosing to guide him towards balance. That is where the strength of the tale lies, and that is where its meaning is. Thank you. Each story has a lesson, and each lesson asks to be lived. In the next video in this series, I will talk about Jaimini's third question. Till then, take care of the Indra within you.